So I am back with Sarah Nicklin. We last talked, I think it was back in March
Yeah, for
for Popeye
Popeye.
the Slayer. Yeah, Popeye the Slayer Man. But now your new film, Garden of Eden, just released on Friday.
Yeah. Yay.
I remember seeing it at the premiere. It was probably about, it was kind of like a soft opening. I remember it was like a
Mhm.
year ago. And I remember I went with a mutual friend of ours, Michael Colomb.
Yes.
And we turned to each other in the theater and we go, holy shit, this is like, even though you weren't in the movie, like the whole thing, um, this was like, we're like, this is Sarah's movie. This is like her
Oh,
defining moment, I think as an actress because it was like an emotionally charged, both your scenes were very emotionally charged and it made a lasting impression
yeah.
on
Thank
us.
you.
So, this was definitely your moment to shine and you definitely did. And so now we're going to talk about it.
Yay.
Garden of Eden is directed by Marcel Walsh, and Marcel has a very unique type of filmmaking. And one thing I love about his films is they're always very vibrant. The color is just amazing. The stories are always crazy nuts.
Yeah.
And Garden of Eden is no exception. I remember leaving the theater in a good way. I'm like, what the did I just watch? When it gets you
Yeah.
thinking, get you going, and you're just thinking like, damn, I just went through this whole movie and it was completely bonkers. And I think that's all of his movies that I've seen are like that. And that's a
It's
good thing.
definitely there's a stamp like on his movies. You can tell it's a
Exactly.
Marcel movie. Yeah, very
Exactly.
good
And I
film.
and I love that. I love that form. It is great. And I'm looking forward to I know it's a Brute 76.
Yep.
Is his next one, and I'm
Hmm.
looking forward to checking that one out. And you were also in just got released Pretty Boy. It's been
Yes.
a few years and it finally got released, so that's
Finally.
awesome. This is your second film with Marcel, right?
Yeah, so Pretty Boy was the first one I did with
Oh,
Marcel, and then Garden of Eden was the second one.
perfect. So we'll start off with Garden of Eden. How were you introduced to this script, this project?
Well, since we had worked together before on Pretty Boy, they just emailed me.
Yeah.
Marcel and Joe were like, "Hey, we have a
Yeah.
role for you in our next movie. Let me send you the script." It was called La Petite Mort at the time. The
Okay.
title changed later. But they were like, "We have this role for you, and we want someone that we can really trust to handle it and
Yeah.
take a look and read it and see if you'd be interested." And I
Yeah.
did, and I was like, "Oh my God, yes."
And so that was when you read for, I believe your character's name was it Patricia?
Yeah.
Was that that the one they had chosen for you? There wasn't anything else, or did you get to pick, or was it Patricia all along?
Yeah, I don't think even actually, I think he sent me the script and he didn't even tell me the role when he first sent it to me.
Okay.
Then as I was reading through it, I was like, oh, I hope it's Patricia.
Yeah, nice. Okay.
And then it was because that was such just as it was written, such a
Hmm.
meaty role. And I was like, oh, I could do so good with this. Like I really want to do
Yeah.
this.
So now we're going to talk about that because Patricia, that role was, like I said earlier, was very emotionally charged, emotionally draining. Your character, and so you basically Patricia's a, I don't want to give too much away, but your character is a grieving mother.
Mhm.
Um, and she's, following, her daughter had just passed away in an accident. So there's different layers of grief that you were going through your character, sadness, numbness, a bunch of rage.
Mhm.
How did you channel all that in? Because that was a lot, and it was just such a short amount of time that you were doing it all. So can you walk us through the process of that?
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of technical, boring actor stuff that I won't get into, but for the most part, I tried to, because just like you said, there's so many different levels and
Yeah.
stages and layers of grief, which anyone and everyone's had some sort of loss that has like really affected them. And you go through so many different emotions with that. So when I was preparing for Patricia, I tried to just prepare each of the emotions almost as if they were like a color like to use
Hmm.
like if you're painting a canvas. So I was like, okay, I'm going to prepare rage, I'm going to prepare grief, I'm going to prepare numbness, I'm going to prepare like the emotional relationship like with my child and everything that happened that day and all the events and that surrounded, you know, her death and what I went through trying to like find reasons for it and blaming myself and blaming the world and like so I prepared each of those kind of separately, almost as like colors for a canvas. And so then when we went to actually film it, I just let whatever came at that moment to come and to like come forward. So I had all the different because I mean in real life you don't be like, okay, I'm gonna be sad in this moment or I'm gonna, you know, like you experience things as you experience them
Hmm.
based on your background and like your history. So I prepared the background and the history and then I let whatever was gonna happen
Happening. Yeah.
as I did it. So
Did you, I mean, was there any to get in that moment, was there anything you had to think that you thought of? Any moments in life that you just took yourself to kind of get you in the, I guess in the mood in the moment?
yeah, I mean a lot of the preparation specifically came from like my cat that had died suddenly, who was, you
Mhm.
know, like my child, and so like
Yeah.
that loss, the loss of when I got divorced, because getting divorced is, you know, very traumatic, even if it's a
Yeah.
positive thing. And so you experience all sorts of different types of grief with that as well, because you're losing your relationship, you're losing the person, you're losing the potential future that you had with that person, your imagination of what your life would be, like all of that sort of stuff that I went through personally in that situation. I then tried to put into Patricia because she's going through all of those things too and losing all of those things at the same time. So I did all of the like actory work to prepare all of
Yeah.
those things. And then when it came to shooting on the day, usually what I would do is in the morning before going to set, I would just go outside and walk in the grass barefoot and like connect with the trees because I like nature. Nature is very grounding to me. It's very
Hmm.
like emotionally opening to me. So I was just like relaxing with nature. And then I'd go to set. I'd kind of sit in the corner by myself. I'd say hi to everyone, but I didn't want to like be super social. And I'd listen to music
Yeah.
while everything was happening and waiting. So my general throughout the day playlist was Mazzy Star because that just has a, you know, very somber,
Yeah.
slit your wrists, but not too much kind of tone. So that was my like normal playlist. And then Marcel and Joe were really great in the way that they run their set, and they were very much on time and very professional. So they were
Mhm.
able to give me like time warnings, like you have 30 minutes before we're going to call you. You have
Okay.
10 minutes before we're going to call you. So as that was happening at the 30-minute mark, I then switched to a song. It's by Irma Thurman. It's anyone who knows what love is, and it just has an emotional resonance for me. It's a little deeper than like the general Mazzy Star stuff. And then as we got closer, like 10 minutes, 2 minutes, even leading up to doing the takes, I switched to My Immortal by Evanescence, which
Okay.
that was such a gut rip
Yeah.
of a song. So that really just got me into that space. So I did all of my prep work beforehand. I centered myself, grounded myself, emotionally opened myself in the morning, and then tried to keep that with Mazzy Star on set. And then as we got closer, ramped it up with the other songs.
I mean, now that you're explaining the whole thing, I can see how the music would definitely kind of put you in those moments.
Yeah,
And how it progressively started with one song and how you went just kind of, you know,
it's like notch it up a little bit as you keep
exactly,
going
yeah,
through. Yeah,
turn up the heat, so to speak, but
exactly.
in a subtle way.
Yep.
Um, was there anything difficult about your scene that you maybe had to have an extra take, or was it just, or did everything just flow out naturally as we saw it?
Yeah, everything was pretty
Yeah.
natural. Honestly, like every so the very, very first time that you see my character, which you barely even see me because it's really darkly lit and I'm in this big like black veil and I'm just
Yeah.
crying on the bed. That was one take. We did it once, that was it, moving on. And then the next time when I'm talking to the matriarch, who runs the garden parties. That we had a very limited amount of time to shoot that. I think we were only in that location for like 2 or 3 hours to shoot that scene. So that was like literally one or two takes because that's the only time that we had to do it. And then we had to move on. And then the climax with like the monologue and everything at the
Yeah.
end, that they shot all of Ben's stuff first. So
Okay.
they allowed me to like have more time to get to where I needed to be for that scene. And but then also all the camera was already set up, all the blocking was already set up. So by the time like it came in to do my coverage on that, I just worked on the performances. So we did two takes of that, and that was it. And so it was really nice to be on such a well functioning set that you can just like, because I've been on sets before where you come in and you do the blocking, they're like, okay, we're ready for you. And then they're still trying, like 15 minutes, they're still trying to figure out the stuff while you're standing there because indie films don't have stand-ins or any that sort of stuff. So it was really nice on this one because it was so emotionally
Yeah.
taxing to be able to just stay in my space and not have to worry about all that technical stuff.
Yeah, because most of the time it's just any set that I've been on, it's just chaotic.
Yeah.
Like, and this seemed the way you're describing it seemed very organized.
Very
Very
organized. Yep.
like they knew what they wanted and they knew how to handle it. And it shows on screen that, like I said, that performance. And one thing I love about Marcel's films is that um the recycling of actors, as I call it. And
Mm-hmm.
Rob Zombie does it a lot too. You see a lot of the
Yep.
same folks. And I think that's good because it's people you feel safe with, people and I mean they're all great, like Robert Ressler,
Mm-hmm.
so funny. A lot of us horror fans know him from Nightmare on Elm Street Part Two,
Yes.
with Brady. So that's but we saw him in Blood Feast when
Mm-hmm.
Marcel did that one,
Yeah.
and he's in this one. We see Monique Parrott. She comes back up in a couple movies. Gigi Gustin comes back, in a few of his movies, and so does Sarah French, which I
Mm-hmm.
adore all of them, and I love watching them. So that's one another positive thing about Marcel's movies. So I'm really
Yeah.
hoping that we're going to see some more Sarah Nicklin and more of Marcel's movies. So
Maybe in the future. I know they have a couple of things in the works. They have not talked to me or not asked me about it yet, but I that's the thing also about working with people that you're friends with that you have worked with multiple times is like
yeah,
there's a trust and a rapport when you're working on set together, which is great that you get past that like awkward getting to know you phase, but
yeah,
also like that if there's something that you're right for that they'll come to you for it. Like you can just trust in the process.
exactly. Yeah. So if they came to you for something and they recommended something, you're going to have that trust in them and be
Exactly.
like, yeah, sure, I'll do it.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. And like that awkwardness is taken away, which that's great in any scenario. So I think it's a
Very much.
win-win for everybody.
Yeah.
Um, and you seem like you've been busy. You had Popeye the Slayer Man release, a few months ago. Now Garden of Eden. Is there anything else you've been working on that you can talk about or just make mention of?
Um, well, the most exciting thing I can't talk about. It hasn't been announced yet. It's probably going to be announced next month, but that it is a recognizable horror property, and that's going to
Oh,
be
very good.
released
Okay.
later this year. So, once that's been announced, then maybe I can come
Mm.
back and talk to you about that. Um,
Have you shot that yet, or is it
yes,
just
we shot that
okay? So you
already.
did. I heard you wrapped on something that I heard it was going to be good, but I haven't been told what it was. Okay.
Can't tell you yet. Not yet. So we have so that'll be coming out in time for Halloween. I also have
Perfect.
If It Bleeds, which is a horror anthology. That'll probably be sometime next year. I know they want to do like an industry screening later this year. And then I'm gearing up to shoot Total Party Kill, which is an all-female Dungeons and Dragons like role-playing game, and
Okay.
you die when you're playing the game. It's really fun. It's a horror comedy, over the top practical effects. Like it's going to be a good time. And then I'm also outside of horror. I have a boxing biopic that
Okay.
I'm going to be shooting in the UK, hopefully later this summer. So trying to stay
Very,
busy.
very good. I did see one called Witching Hour. Is that? I mean, it was, I know sometimes on IMDb, it's like, sometimes it's like, oh, it's not even a thing, or it was a thing.
Yeah.
Is that a
That
thing?
oh God, we filmed, I don't think that's ever gonna come out.
Okay.
Um I filmed that in probably 2010,
Oh yeah,
2009.
yeah, it may
It's
not have
it's
this thing.
a it's yeah, it was cool because I got to work with William Forsythe on that one.
Oh, very good. Yeah,
So like that was, it was very exciting for me, you know,
yeah.
and I shot that in New England before I even moved to Los Angeles. But it's one of those ones like I don't know what happened with
I mean,
that,
you never know. I mean,
you
one day
know.
it could pop up.
Yeah. One day,
Yeah.
maybe. Hey, maybe.
2010 though. Ugh, that was
Yeah.
15 years ago.
Yeah. Very different than
Um, has there been anybody, like even a director, another actor, actress that you've always wanted to work with, you haven't had the opportunity to yet?
I mean a lot,
Yeah.
but
Is there any, like, do you have like a top dog? You're like, I would love to.
um I think,
That's
I
kind of a
think
hard question
Mike
because there's a
Flanagan,
lot.
everything that he
Yeah.
does, I love. I love everything he does. So I would really love to work with him.
Yeah.
Everything David Fincher does, I love. So like would love to work with him. Um the actor, and I don't even know his name. He played the well, sort of villain in Strange Darling, the male lead in
Okay.
Strange Darling. I think he's such a fantastic actor. I've seen him in like multiple things, just more and more, and like I would love to work with that guy. I again don't know his name, but I think he's so good. um I would love to work with Alex Esso. I think she's fantastic. Yeah, there's a lot.
And then thinking back just now, just thinking about your performance, you're also had a great performance in the Black Mass, Stephanie
Oh
Penn's
yeah, thank
film.
you.
So I mean, another emotionally, driven performance
Yes.
driven film. So this might be your thing now.
Hey, I'm all for it. I love this type of stuff. Like, sign me up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
I like the stuff where you got to reach down and pull your guts out and like
Yeah,
show them to people. I prefer that sort of thing than
a
the,
little challenging.
yes, very much so.
Well, very good. So hopefully we can talk again real soon about the movie
Yeah.
that's wrapped now. I'm like super curious as to what that is, since it's kind of like you said, a property. So that'll be
Yeah,
exciting. And I can't believe spooky time, season is already
I
upon
can't
us, like
either.
probably less than 2 months away.
I know.
It feels like
I'm
we
sure
just
we'll be
did
seeing a
this.
lot of each other during
Yes,
spooky
yes,
season.
definitely. So, thank you again so much. I really appreciate it. I know you've had a busy schedule, so taking the time out and speaking with me has been, it's always a pleasure. Thank you again.
Well, thank you so much for having me. Thanks for making the time. I'm glad it worked out.
All right, we'll talk again soon.
Great. Sounds good.